Hi, this is Matt Blanchett from Blanchett Homes, and when I'm not selling houses, I like to walk through the streets of historic hometowns to appreciate the places that have stood the test of time. Walk with me.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Walk With Me. I'm Matt Blanchett, your host. We're here with Lincoln, Alabama, and Lincoln's getting tired. It's been a long day walking High Street with Gordon Harris, the town historian. Hi, Gordon.
How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I love this house. It's a deep cut, 1658 originally.
That's the date it says.
So says the plaque.
Yep.
Although I'll be honest, it's a 5-bay facade.
Yep.
And whenever I see a 5-bay facade, I always think Georgian, but I'll trust you.
Well, you know, a lot of these first period houses, we call those any house built before about 1720 was supposed to be construction.
Yeah.
A first period. They often started out as a half house, and then they would expand. But, you know, I spent a lot of time in this house because I'm a carpenter. I've done some work here. And I can see that all the woodwork was built at the same time in this front part of the house.
Yeah. So what have you done working on this front door?
Well, I replaced, years ago, I replaced the sort of Doric enclosure here, pilasters, and the door, and she likes the bright colors. She's got in the summertime, she has a beautiful natural.
I think it looks great.
Garden.
Yeah.
As a real, and the windows. The windows actually, the window frames date back at least 100 years, I would say. But we installed a replacement true windows with divided panes, 6/9.
Yep.
And they have a nice energy panel on them. So even though this is a really old house with not a lot of insulation qualities, the windows made it so much better.
Excellent. So I always love it when people watching at home can find ways to make their antique home more energy efficient.
Yeah.
So these are modern windows, but they're built in really to replicate the exact style that was there with the individual panes.
And be honest, you know, with these windows, if that energy panel breaks or if one of the panes breaks, you can repair it. With insulated glass, you usually have to throw the window away.
Yeah, so that's a great feature.
Yeah.
Now, I do see, true to what I would consider first period, there's the fieldstone foundation.
Yeah.
And it's also just 1 bay deep.
That's right. That means it's 1 room deep.
Right.
Yeah.
So then tell me about this layout, because I think this is a great prototype for how a first period house would have been used.
And we call them hall and parlor houses. So you got 4 rooms, 2 downstairs and 2 upstairs, right? So this larger room on one side usually.
On my room.
It would be on this side. This is the hall. This is where, you know, that huge fireplace in there. It's maybe 8 feet wide or so and very high and very deep. So that would be where the woman would cook.
Yeah.
And then the room on that side is called the parlor in these houses, and that would be a private room.
Where you entertain?
Yeah, well, no, actually, where your private room, you would entertain in your hall.
Okay.
Because you got the big fire going.
People still like to gather in the kitchen.
Exactly.
All right.
But then something happened to almost all of these houses, they built a shed in the back that we call them a salt box.
Yeah.
And
But you're saying this house was added on, you said?
That's right. In this house, I can see they added it on.
Uh-huh.
It became such a popular thing that by about 1700, they started building houses.
Everybody wanted it.
That's right.
Everybody was doing it.
So now you've got this long kitchen in the back, which is very functional with another fireplace. And this can be a really true entertainment place for the whole family to stay warm.
Yeah. So obviously there's a large center chimney, another indication of a first period house.
Yeah. The chain of ownership suggests that this house, which was built by Thomas Lord, stayed in the family. And when you look at the deeds, you don't see, is it still the same house or is it a different house? We don't find that.
Huh.
But there's a lot of indications that this couldn't very well have been built under Lord. About what?
Thomas Lord?
Well, the Lord family probably owned almost every house on this street at one time or not. So they were very, oftentimes they were town clerks.
Okay.
And of course they had other trades as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's been another great edition of Walk With Me. Thanks for being with us.
I love it.
And thanks for walking with us along at home, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.